I'm going to do is all the things I knew how to do before I ever took a calculus class. So there's some things I knew, theoretically. One, I know if I set the top equal to 0, that would be a 0. Because I'm essentially setting y equal to 0. I should be able to solve this thing, shouldn't I? All right, so that's step 1. I set equal to 0, see if I can solve it. Now, if it's really hard to do, I go, no, I'm not going to, no, not worth my time. But if it's easy to do, like, for example, there's nothing bottom never matters, right? Multiply both sides of that, comes 0, it goes away. So 3, can 3 be equal to 0? Never. So I know y is never 0. So I found that out. Okay? Which means you're not crossing the x-axis anywhere. All right. Second thing I would try to do, set the bottom equal to 0. Why? Because that might be where I find holes or y-intercepts. In this case, or y, or asymptotes, vertical asymptotes. Now, I take a look at this and go, I know it can't cancel out, so it's not going to be holes. It's only going to be vertical asymptotes. So far, so good? All right, let's do it. So I set the bottom equal to 0. And I'm going to get, I could either, let's just do it to the other side. Let's do it old school. I get x equals plus or minus 3. What's that x equals plus or minus 3? Vertical asymptotes. So now I got 2 asymptotes. I know it never crosses the x-axis. Fair enough? All right, last thing's limits, right? I can find limits. How do I find limits? Oh, I said x equal to 0. I forgot about setting x equal to 0. When x equals 0, it's usually an easy problem to do, right? I put a 0 in there, I get 3 over negative 9, so negative 1/3, right? So negative 1/3 is my answer there. Okay, now I take the limit as x approaches infinity. That's kind of new for this year. Although last year they called them, not last year, 2 years ago they called them horizontal asymptotes. They weren't really asymptotes, but whatever. Same idea. So I'm going to take the limit as x approaches infinity of 3, or with y, which is 3 over x squared. Well, that's bad notation all the way around. Don't do that. Take my time, write it bigger. 3 over x squared minus 9. What happens when I put infinity in the bottom of this thing? It goes to 0. What happens if I put negative infinity in this thing? Still 0, right? So the limit as x approaches negative infinity of 3 over x squared minus 9 is also going to be 0. Yes, sir?
Why do you do it for both infinity and negative infinity?
99.9% of the time, it's not going to matter.
What case would it?
If I have an x squared on top, if I had absolute value bars, it would matter. On top and not on the bottom. If I had like an x squared plus 9x on the top and an x squared minus x on the bottom, something like that, it might matter. Generally speaking, it's not going to matter. And in fact, 10 years ago, there was a problem on the AP test where they made the left and right limits different for infinity. And only 12% of AP Calc students got it right. Something like 70% of the students picked the answer for the positive infinity because they didn't even look for the negative infinity. It didn't even occur to them that negative infinity would matter. Right? So just so you're aware, you're supposed to look. Honestly, by the time you take the AP test and you're rolling through that test, you're going to forget. Everybody does. Because it's always the same, right? Same. Okay, I'm going to stop checking. That's what I do. Okay? And again, mostly it is the same. Sometimes you can catch there's an error with that by actually checking. By when you start to do your graphs, you're like, wait, nothing works, something's wrong. That can happen, and that'll sometimes bail you out. All right.
So when do you divide by the highest power?
I would do it here, except first thing you're supposed to do is plug it in, right? But plug it in, I already know what the answer is. I mean, I could technically, because infinity might be confusing, like infinity squared. I'm not sure how that's going to go. If you didn't immediately give me an answer, we could divide by half power of x, which would give us 3 over x squared over x squared minus 9 over x squared, right? That'd be 0, and I get 0 over 1. Right? So I know it's 0. So I could do it for that. I mean, there's nothing illegal in doing it. It's just you gave me the answer before I had to go that far. And why not? Because it's x squared on the bottom. We know that it leads to 0. Is that good? Is that a good roundup for how to do that first part? Okay. When he's done with the second, Mr. Vaughn's done with the second part, we'll do the second part.
I gotta need help on the second part.
Are you stuck or have you tried? What are you going to do first?
I've tried, but I don't know.
Have you taken the derivative?
Yes.
Okay. And you're stuck at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to give everybody else another 30, 40 seconds because now another minute. So how long did you get?
I was gonna ask, what's the point of 0 and -1
It's an easy, you know how when you're drawing your graph and you're going like this and you go, well, it's kind of goes down here somewhere and then goes back up. Kind of weird. Kind of nice to know what that point is. And because if I plug 0 into this, boom, I know what the answer is. Why not? It gives me a point to put on my graph. I like to make y0 and x0 because we're pretty good at figuring out what those are. It gives me a couple points to play with. Once I have a couple points, I feel better. Now, again, if you plug in 0 for x squared, and you're like, I can't figure this out, it's too hard, my head is melting, then skip it. It's all information. It's essentially, I'm relying on some algebra 2 skills. So yeah, you know how to do this, so why not find a couple points? Have you done the first derivative part yet?
What?
First derivative part?
I took the derivative and I started this.
Okay. Finish up your first derivative part. You let me know when you're done. Mr. Bond's waiting patiently. You can start taking the second derivative if you want, Mr. Bond.
Okay.
You know you're going to need it. That is very strange.
Alright, so how I do is, so x squared minus 9 times 0, so you take that out there. And then 3 times 2x over x squared minus 9 squared.
Agreed?
Yeah.
All right. Now what?
That's what I'm at.
All right. So now we got to figure out where the derivative is undefined and 0 because we're looking for critical points, right?
Yeah.
The simplest way to think about it is what makes the top positive, top 0, what makes the bottom 0.
0.
So you're just bang like that. I'm going to write down negative 6x equals 0, therefore x equals 0. Good job. Get it in your head. That's great. What makes the bottom equal 0?
3 and -3.
Thank you. I'm going to write down, no, I'm going to write x squared minus 9 equals 0. Squared equals 9. Square root both sides, I get x squared minus 9 equals 0. Move the 9 over, I get 9, x equals plus or minus 3.
I think I know where to go from there. So 9 doing the
Negative infinity to
0. Wait, to -3.
-3.
And then
At x equals 3, there might be something going on there.
and then -3 to 0.
Like it. And at x equals 0, something might be going on there.
0 to 3.
And at x equals 3, something might be going on.
3.
All right. How do I know what's going on? Plug some numbers in. What are we going to do to ascertain between negative infinity and -3? -4. All right, fine. -4. -4. Bottom's positive, right? Because squared, so the whole thing's squared, so the bottom's got to be positive. Agreed?
It's increasing.
So it's increasing. Positive 24.
I write it down real quick.
Yo, write it down. Hold. Time out. You're done with this part?
The derivative.
Yeah, derivative and the increasing, decreasing. Good. All right, good to know. All right, how do I find a spot between -3 and 0?
You can just use -1.
-1. What happens when we use -1?
It's increasing again.
Increasing again. Which means this is not an either. It's a nothing.
Say neither.
If you look at the previous page, you can figure out what it is. It's a nothing.
And then words between 0 and 3.
0 and 3.
1. So decreasing.
Decreasing.
the next one.
That means increasing and decreasing. This is a maximum, right?
Yeah.
Either local or relative or absolute, right?
Yes, and then for 2, 3, and 4, which makes it decreasing.
Decreasing again. Decreasing to decreasing means it's a nothing. Well, it's not a technical term. In case some of you are like, nothing. What's a nothing? That's what I used to say when I was 3 and it meant nothing. Sorry. Don't get excited. Don't write that down. Don't put it on the AP test. They will actually dock you points. Nothing? Nothing. That's wrong. Take away points. It's not a real term. Probably misspelling nothing. All right. So now we're on to the second derivative. Go.
All right, so
All right. Hold on.
we're doing it together. We're walking
Together.
both hands.
Together is always better, right? We preach that.
Okay, I think I do that.
What was that?
It looks like a young Matthew Cotton.
Don't say things like that.
That's cool.
I'm going to start thinking that.
You know who Matthew Cotton is?
Sure. There's only like 50,000 movies.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Multi-billionaire.
Move this out in front. Here's the inside.
I think it's X.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's 2X.
Is it? Oh, it's x squared inside here?
Yeah, it's
Oh. Oh. You can write down the problem right.
Put it there at the front.
You want me to do it. All right.
You better put it at the front there. Yeah, the first one.
Need a little help.
You better put it right there. In the first time you read it.
What? Oh, I did there too. Yeah, first, yeah, you're right.
No, X squared.
Oh! 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 There goes my perfect on AP test. All right.
I need your help.
Hey, just for the record, I've taken every AP test that's been available myself. I haven't got a perfect on one of them yet. Not one. I've gotten darn close. One time I missed one free response question. I still want to dispute it. Other times I just
For
made
every
mistakes.
subject?
Duh, 3 plus 7.
Resny, what if I get a perfect on
What's got a Gavin?
Man, you and I get the concern understanding just to get you to 3 land.
I have
Three legs.
Indian friends.
All right, let's get going. Gotta get rolling here. Yeah, cheater. That's not saying it's getting.
Yeah, what if
All right, negative. I've got 2, 4, 6, 24.
Okay, so
So plus 24x squared. Plus, because there's 2 negatives.
oh, you're right.
Everything good? All over x minus 9, x squared minus 9. Let's not do that again. Okay, and then clean that up. I got 18x squared plus 54 all over x squared minus 9 to the third. What? We're good?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna write that down.
Write it down and then do the next part.
Um,
I set the top equal to 0. 18x squared equals negative 54.
Oh,
Divide by 18 and I get negative 3, I believe. Doesn't matter what it is, it's a negative, so therefore at this point I say, whoa, not going to happen. So the top can't be made 0. What makes the bottom equal 0? What makes the bottom equal 0? 3 and negative 3, and you get it to me before. It's the exact same process we just did a second ago, right?
Yeah.
So we won't have to repeat it. So where I got points of interest?
So negative infinity to negative 3.
Negative 3.